There's a bipartisan task force on U.S. immigration policy. It's out with a new report today arguing that the failure to reform immigration laws and procedures not only threatens that issue or those issues, but in fact the U.S. economy, diplomacy, and national security. Joining us now to talk about this is Mac McLarty. He's co-chair of the Council on Foreign Relations Task Force report on immigration. And of course, he was chief of staff to President Clinton during the early 1990s. Mac McLarty, very good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Carlos, thank you. Good to be with you.
Max, so do you really believe, we know we've been talking about immigration here now for a number of years, and John McCain, among others, stepped up and tried hard to get something done over the last couple of years. Is it genuinely believable that we could pass major immigration reform this year with everything else, including health care, that President Obama has on the legislative agenda?
Carlos, yes, it is. You're right. The president has a full agenda, as does the Congress. But this is an issue, I think we largely know what the right elements are of a comprehensive strategy. I think you hit it just right in your intro. What are we waiting on? I think it's time to step up and move forward. And I really do believe that the vast majority of Americans, if this issue is explained properly, discussed properly, will understand and agree that it's in our national interest to do so, both from a security, an economic issue, and from our standing around the world.
Mac, I'm joined today by a couple of guests. I'm joined by Roy Seekoff and Stephen A. Smith. Stephen's got a question for you.
I'd like to know what your definition of moving forward is. When we talk about addressing the issue of immigration reform, when you say we need to move forward, what exactly do you mean by that?
Fair question. I think what we have now is a system that's not working. I think both critics and proponents agree with that. So I think there's a large measure of consensus to fix a broken system. One, I think it's to regulate the flow of immigrants. It's not just to open the gates, but to regulate the flow, Stephen, to match the job market here in the United States. Secondly, is to have strong border enforcement, but to do it in the right way, responsible way, humane way. And for the 12 million illegal immigrants that are living here, it's not optimum, but it's reality. We do not need to give them amnesty, but we do need to give them a earned path toward to becoming legal citizens. That's in our security interest. It's in our economic interest. So that would be the elements of a comprehensive package.
Mac, I apologize. We've only got about 30 seconds, but I've got to ask you, how are you going to respond when Rush Limbaugh and other conservatives inevitably go hard at you? What's your practical political response that allows some Republicans who might want to vote for this and cooperate with you to come into the tent and to be part of a solution?
Well, Carlos, it's a good question. First of all, I would underscore Governor Jeb Bush is my co-chair, and I'm proud of that. We also had Richard Land, Reverend Land, who's with the Southern Baptist Convention. So we had a broad group of people on the task force. That's number one. Number two, there is a vocal minority that's against this, but I think the overwhelming majority is for it. I think it's good policy, but, Carlos, it's good politics as well, both for Republicans and for Democrats.
Mac, thank you so much for joining us. And I've got to ask you, do you promise that you'll come visit us here in New York in the studio next time you're here?
Thanks for the invitation. I'll take you up on it.
Look forward to it. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.